Hi Kathy, this is Mike from Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, and this is your Singer 328K, and this is the final test before we pack her up to ship her out to you. And in this test we're going to go over how to thread the machine, how to wind the bobbin, how to work the various controls, and just generally how to sew on this machine. So without further ado, let's wind a bobbin. Your bobbin is in the bobbin case down here below the slide plate, and you can just lift it right out. This one's already got quite a bit of thread on it, so let's see if I have one that doesn't. Your bobbins are Singer Class 66 bobbins, which are slightly domed on the top and the bottom. You'll see them in metal and in plastic. There's no real difference between the two. The plastic ones may be marginally quieter. I don't know if that's so or not. But to wind the bobbin, put your spool on the spool pin down here, and go into the. This is a tension device for your bobbin winder. So you want to go between the discs of the tension device and up to the bobbin winder. But before you put the bobbin on, put the thread through the little hole in the side of the bobbin, the inside toward the out. Slide the bobbin onto the bobbin winder all the way. Press the bobbin winder down until it makes contact with the hand wheel. Declutch your machine by turning the chrome knob in the center of the hand wheel towards you, a quarter of a turn or so, until you feel it hit its stop. And that declutches the machine, and it just makes it so that the hand wheel can spin and wind the bobbin without making the rest of the machine cycle. So holding on to that little tail of thread that's sticking out of your bobbin, give it a little gas and plug it in. Always unplug your machine when you're not using it, for safety's sake. Holding that little tail of thread, give it a little gas. And there you go. No reason to go fast. That's how you wind the bobbin. And cut off that little tail of thread. Declutch your machine by tightening the chrome knob in the center of the hand wheel. Raise your bobbin winder away from the hand wheel. And your bobbin's wound. Let's see. This one's got a little more thread on it. We'll use this one. Once your bobbin is wound, with the thread coming up off of the top of the bobbin in this direction, drop your bobbin into the bobbin race, and there's a little slanted slot right there that you want to direct your thread into, and then pull it to the left until you kind of feel it click into place. And that little flat leaf spring that you pulled it under is your lower tension. We can just leave it like that while we thread the machine. Put your spool on the spool pin. Guide your thread into this thread guide at the top, down between the discs of the tension assembly all the way around until you pick up this little thin wire check spring, which is your check spring. And then keep pulling all the way up until your thread goes into the notch at the top of the tension discs. Then go through your take-up lever from the right towards the left, and then down into the thread guide on the faceplate and the thread guide below the needle clamp. Just looks like a slot, but it's a thread guide. And then through the eye of the needle from the front of the machine towards the back. Now, holding your needle thread loosely, turn the hand wheel towards you one full revolution, and the needle will take the thread down where the hook will pick it up, wrap it around the bobbin, and bring up your lower thread. So one full revolution towards you. There's your lower thread. Put the thread between the toes of the presser foot and towards the back of the machine, and you're ready to sew. Put your fabric under the presser foot and lower it using the lever on the back here. This is your stitch length lever here. From the that mark here on the gauge, going down from there, your stitches get longer and longer and longer until your longest stitches are all the way at the bottom. And this has a pretty long stitch, 4 stitches per inch. Going from that mark up, your stitches get longer and longer, but in reverse. So we're going to go to about 12 stitches per inch. And if you want, you have the option of tightening down this little thumb screw until the keeper makes contact with the gauge on the front here. And then when you go into reverse, your stitches will be the same length in reverse that they were in forward. I'm going to leave it wide open so we can just move back and forth with impunity. But we're going to put it on 12 stitches per inch, which is pretty much a ballpark stitch length for regular threaded fabric. This little red lever is your stitch width, how far it's going to zig and zag. We're going to leave it on 0 for straight stitch for now. And this is your needle centering, your home centering knob. You can have your seam be to the left, to the center, or to the right. And I think that only really makes, that's only something you do for decorative top stitching, but I'm not a seamstress, I just restore them. This is your tension assembly, and we're going to have your tension on about 3. 3 is a pretty good ballpark tension for a regular threaded fabric. For something heavier, you may want a little more stitch length. For something lighter weight, you might want a little less. But just turn it in tiny increments until you get a nice balanced stitch on the bottom. This knob here, this chrome knob at the very top, is the pressure on your sewing foot. You only want as much pressure as it needs to move your fabric along with authority. You don't need to bog it down with a real tight pressure. And again, for heavier fabric, you may need to adjust it up or down. That's about it. Chrome knob, our bobbin winder is up out of the way. Chrome knob is reclutched, 12 stitches per inch, 0 zigzag, center needle position, 3 on the tension. Here we're going to go. And for longer stitches, just move your lever down. Shorter stitches, move it up. For reverse, move it way up. We're going to leave it on 12 stitches per inch. Under this lid here is your stitch pattern cam. To make a zigzag stitch, you need to have the zigzag stitch pattern cam in, which it is right now. That's the cam that's going to come with it. To change cams, you just unscrew the knob on top, lift the cam off, and you can put a different cam. I'm going to hold on to this one. This is just my test cam, but just drop your cam in with a, you'll see there's a little cutout for the guide pin. Put it in, put your knob back on. But we're going to stick with zigzag for starters here. The zigzag cam is pattern cam number 1. Okay, for zigzag, we're still on the center position here. You just move your lever up as far as you want for the width of zigzag you want. I'll put it all the way up to 4 for now, for the widest zigzag. That's about it. It's a easy to operate machine, not a lot of complexity to it. You're going to want to oil your machine about every 8 hours or so of sewing. So 2 hours one day and 6 hours the next day, you should oil it before you start again. If you bring your machine out of the closet and you haven't used it in 3 months or more, it's probably a good idea to oil it before you start. And there are, I'll see if I have a user manual to send you. It'll have a an oiling guide in it that'll show you all the oiling points. If I don't have one, if I don't send you one, look online. They're easy to find. You can get a free one from Singer or from Ismax, ISMACS. Their sewing machine, vintage sewing machine information site. But that's about it. She's working, sewing great, and I just went through her again, and she's running in tip-top condition. We'll get her packed up to you. Probably won't get her packed up until tomorrow. I have a 3-hour trip to go pick a sewing machine up in Southern Oregon. But anyway, thank you so much. We appreciate your patronage. You help us keep doing what we do and what we love doing, which is restoring beautiful sewing machines.